Thank you for joining today. We have a guest, Miss Inelia Benz. She is here, as millions of others are, to raise the level of vibration of the planet. This has evolved assisting light workers and light warriors in their path, as well as exploring and investigating what the dark side is doing. She has developed and investigated tools and practices which are quick and effective in raising the awareness and vibrations of individuals and the planet. She came here knowing what she had to do, but like many of us, she just wasn't sure how to do it. At first, she didn't even know the vocabulary to express what we need to do here. She knew that the world and its people had to buzz better and happier. Her journey was not without mistakes, defeats, dangers, and injuries, but she says it's all been worth it. On January 2010, she received a request from Source to go public. She's done this. Her website is amazing, and I strongly suggest everybody go explore it. It's loaded with many tools for raising your vibration, as well as lots of good information. Her website is Ascension101.com. And now, Miss Inelia Benz, welcome to the show.
Hi, Kimberli. It's lovely to be here.
It's lovely to have you. It is so amazing to have you, by the way. Thank you for your time. I want to jump right in, and I don't want to waste too much time. And I want to talk about your website, Ascension 101. And the one thing on your website I think is the most important thing that everyone should do is the fear exercise, or the fear release exercise.
Yes.
Could you describe that a little bit for us?
Yes. This is definitely the most effective way to raise one's vibration, and it's really very simple. The full text for the exercise is on the Tools tab on the menu, and you can download it, you can print it out and use it, record it yourself, or there's also an option to download an audio for it. It's very simple. Basically, the fear vibration is the lowest denominational vibration on the planet. It's the lowest vibration we can have. And it's not natural, it's not native to us as humans. And so the way that it has been used and it's been amplified on the planet is basically to keep us asleep, because the veil of forgetfulness, or the veil of sleepiness that's blanketing the planet, is basically low vibration, and the main low vibration obviously will be fear. So for an individual to process their own fear, it's really quite simple. You think of something that you're afraid of, and then you scan your physical and your subtle bodies to see, okay, where are you? Where's this fear lodged?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And then you find it, and you don't judge it. You don't try to work out where it came from. You don't try to analyze it in any way. You simply look at it and allow it to be there. You welcome it. You allow it to grow, to become as big as possible. See if you can make it as big as the planet. Because basically, fear, it's like a red flag. It's a way of, something that wants to be looked at. But the reasons behind it could be completely logical, or from previous lifetimes, or simply could be artificial, actually, something that's being broadcast by the powers that were. And we simply look at it and welcome it and allow it to exist, and then we infuse it with light and love and embrace it. We embrace it back into us, into love, transform it back. Because basically what it is an enslaved energy construct that's in our field, in our body. So we free it. We allow it to return to source, to what we are basically. And then as we start removing our fears from our physical and subtle bodies, immediately the average vibration that we have will raise, because the lowest ones are being removed. So it's very simple.
Well, one thing that I think is so ingenious about it, when I first did your fear exercise, you're not attacking it. You're not confronting it, because that what you resist persists. You are basically recycling it. And that is ingenious, by the way.
Yes,
and so I'm gonna. It's very ingenious, and so I did the fear exercise, and I thought I was pretty clear, by the way, because these are things that I work on a regular basis and have for 20 plus years. I'm not new to this game, so to speak, and I found a little black spot when I scanned, and I was like, well, what are you, and what are you doing here? How are you doing? But fear is the lowest vibration, and love is one of the higher vibrations. And I agree with you that there's this manifested construct of fear. We should have fear if there's imminent danger, and even then you should keep a clear head instead of going into fear. And I've told people, there's really no reason to have fear. Even if someone has a loaded gun to your head, fear is not going to do any good.
Exactly.
And that would be about the only time to even think about having fear. But even then, you should keep your head clear. There's nothing to fear. There's no such thing as death, really.
Right.
And so then you talk about on your website, and I want to get into this, and I really want to get into this, that when you clear yourself, that you're doing this for the whole planet. You're raising the vibration of the whole planet.
Exactly.
Could you expand on that?
Yes. Each individual, all of us as individual people, or singularities as I like to call us, we are part of a greater collective, which is the human collective and also the planetary collective. And it goes beyond. We're part of many other collectives as well. And as each person clears their fears and raises their personal vibration, they are also increasing or making the vibration of the collective that bit higher. So if you have one person doing it, it raises that tiny little bit, and then two people will raise it more, 3 people more. You go into thousands of individuals all processing their fears and all raising the personal vibration, and you get a really big punch on the collective there to get it vibrating that much higher. And the results are all around us. There's 2 main aspects to the raising of the vibration of the planet. Gaia, as a planet, as a being, as a sentient being, has already gone beyond the dual existence. What we are witnessing now is the human creation of what we agree upon as a reality. But the vibration is already shifted at a planetary level, and the reason being that it was a choice by Gaia and the collective to have a new experience of existence. And this can happen while it goes through this very high vibrational and very interesting parts of the galaxy that we have been moving into, and we haven't reached the center yet, but we have been moving into gradually for the last few decades. And as that happens, the vibration of the planet obviously raised, and it woke up, I think, August 2010. And then the collective humans can also have that opportunity, also have that choice individually, singularly, and as a collective, as a species, we have that choice to go and experience a new reality. Of course, those who have a lot of investment in having a dual reality have done everything in their power to keep humans asleep so that they don't make that conscious choice, right? And
right.
So that's been happening. But even though that's been happening, so many souls have incarnated into the collective the past few decades that have a very high vibration from other dimensions, from other planets, from the future, from who have already completed their journey here, but they came back. All these people have incarnated here, millions actually, in order to raise the vibration to counteract that artificial low vibration which the powers that were have been so busy trying to keep on the planet as a collective so that humans don't make the jump. And the results are everywhere. There has never been so much light on the planet as there is now. Of course, if you watch the news, they're trying to make it look like it's all dark and horrible. But
Right.
there's proof out there. If you do a search on the internet, there's millions and millions of websites of light workers giving information and telling them and their tools and offerings. There has never been so many before that's so accessible. And also, there was this video that I watched that this person just listed the names of all the groups and organizations that were doing things to help the planet or help humanity. And it went on and on and on and on. I think he counted up to 1 million or something. And it could have gone on, but it was so long that it stopped, right? But again, people are getting together just like everywhere at a neighborhood level to clean the parks, at a national level to do this or that or the other, to clean the environment or to help each other. And again, humans are really reacting to that. Another way to see this proof is, for example, terms such as karma, chakras, manifestation, reincarnation. Those terms a couple of decades ago were just being used by those individuals who were in a spiritual path. But nowadays, they're everywhere. They're in the supermarket. You hear people talk about it. They're all over the media. It's just everywhere, and that shows that the awakening is happening, even if it's a tiny little bit. It might not go all the way, somebody wanting to become enlightened immediately, but it's something that somebody questioning, maybe reincarnation does exist, or maybe I'll look into it.
Exactly.
And even if they decide it's not real, they looked into it,
Exactly. Well, so many people are starting to experience the synchronicity. They're starting to understand this intuition. When before, these were things that even if you had intuition, you didn't discuss it. Or you discussed it behind closed doors. Now, you can openly say, no, I just know. We don't go left. We need to go right. Trust me. And,
exactly.
and there's more of an acceptance. And, I think my third eye is blocked, and people now know what a third eye is.
Exactly,
you're not speaking Greek anymore. And so, yes, the vibrational pattern language is very, very, very important to the whole construct. And I think that's one reason why, we talk about, what you were talking about with the TV and the influence. Language is a very important mathematical part of the reality that we experience. So by these terms and words entering into our language and our everyday language, we are actually changing the program from the inside out.
Yes, yes.
Now, you said Gaia had already gone through the shift, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that happened
Go ahead.
2010 in August. I think it was between June and August, 2010. Definitely in June there was an awakening and an energy of coming online consciously by Gaia. While before she was kind of asleep or absent or not there, allowing everything to happen through the will of humans, right? But when she came online, things changed because she did a couple of things. One of them was to raise the environmental vibrational level to very high degrees. And now you don't even have to go to power points on the planet to really connect with Gaia and really feel her energy. You can do it in your yard, right? And so that was one of the things that happened. The other was the bringing back of power, and power is chi and the ability to do, to the female section of the human collective. Females and males are wired differently, and they have different roles in this duality of two sexes. And obviously a person can be born as either, and many people have been born as one or the other many times. And the idea basically is to bring a balance within each individual of their feminine and their masculine energies. But the first step was to really amp the role and the ability of the female at a global level, so that the females then took a step forward and stood in their power, and then everybody else, or even those females who were not awake, were able to then tap into that energy or that structure. Basically, it's about power, and people have, so a lot of people have charge over the word power, and that's because the patriarchal society and the paradigm which we are leaving, and we have been leaving, has used power over others. So that's why it has so much charge. But power is simply chi and the ability to do. How we use it is up to us individually. It doesn't really have, it's not a negative thing, it's not a positive thing, it's just it. And
right.
So females are power, and that's why males have always tried to own them and use them, and because they want to own that power. And males are the heart center, their structure. When you have a completely balanced male-female configuration, you have power within yourself. You have power coming in from source, and you become that power. And you have the heart center, which is your masculine aspect as a structure to wield that power, to use it and to experience it. And once you have both extremely balanced and healthy, there's no limits to what you can do, basically.
That's interesting what you say about the patriarchal society and owning the women. Women are finally starting to be free to have their power in some areas of the world. And you talked about the ley lines as well, or the power grids. And, I want to explore both topics. I want to start with the power grids of the earth. Lucia kind of went into that in her book, and I've worked with that for quite a long time. And I know the Schumann resonance frequency is involved in this. Are the grids themselves literally coming alive? Can we influence them? Do you believe we can influence them?
Yes,
do you understand what I'm saying?
Species. Yeah, as a species, we are extremely powerful. Each of us is like an enormously unlimited battery of power, each person on the planet. And that's why the powers that were trying to stop us from knowing that, because at the moment, they've been using that power. Everybody who's asleep out there is basically being used by the powers that were using that person's power. I mean, the power doesn't change. It's just who's using it, who's wielding that power that changes when you wake up, right? It still stays the same. Now, we can, as a species, and even as a group, or even as an individual, we can we can create the environment that we want. And this is there's recorded cases of people, for example, these people who can bring rain to places that have had huge droughts, for example. We know about them, I can't remember their name, rain dancers or something. And so they bring, it's just that we can actually affect our environment at a very direct level. We dictate what happens in our environment. And it's basically...
Our environment is the reality. And
yes, our reality.
The actuality is our power. And what we manifest with our thoughts becomes our reality.
Yes, it's actually not the thoughts. Funnily enough, the thoughts is just a way of focusing what we want, but it's actually our physical and our emotional bodies which do the work. That's where the power lies, our physical and emotional bodies. And that's why it's so important to clear them too.
And that may be why the powers that used to be, as you say, work so hard to keep women emotionally off balance.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to go slide over to what you were talking about with the patriarchal society, and I have one question that's kind of, different. I believe in reincarnation, and I've looked at a lot of my past lives, and I've been male more than I've been female in my past lives.
Mm-hmm.
What are we in? Our singularity. Are we a female? Are we a male? Or are we both with different sides?
Well, I would say we're neither.
Okay.
The male-female construct is just that. It's a construct to be able to experience different realities, as it were. And also it was designed into the species for practical levels, like the procreation of the species. It's easier to have that configuration at a dense level. But basically, the soul really is neither female or male, and it does. For the past few thousands or millions of years, we've decided to have certain experiences here on this planet, and we came in and we chose which one we wanted to be at each lifetime, and we continued there. Now, if a person really feels that they're female as a soul, and or male as a soul, then it means that they're still identifying or giving importance to one over the other, right? And that's something that each individual can process themselves. And if the person really wants to continue with that identity, then it means they haven't finished doing whatever it is, learning or work that they're doing with that identity of male or female. Right. There's also another little thing that comes in here. When a person still is very much in a male or female configuration, they will often think that there's another soul out there that completes them, that they have the twin soul or something like that. There's the original soul that was split in two, and one became male and the other one became female. And they've been traveling through incarnation after incarnation, learning together, and sometimes not even meeting each other, and sometimes being enemies, but always learning and growing roughly at the same rate. And if we think about it, or if you go beyond that, really, honestly, everybody who's alive today is all one being. We are all one being having multiple experiences. So when a person still hasn't gone through the importance of being either male or female, they haven't lived everything that they need to live and experienced everything they need to experience, yes, there will probably be another soul out there who joins them, right? Who complements them as the opposite, the other identity, and eventually the thought is that they will merge into one, and that's also likely because it's not a physical joining or energetic joining. It's just once their awareness moves past the importance of being male and female, and they become complete, they will see that yes, all those lifetimes they were one person.
That's very interesting. We have a lot of chat going on in the chat room, by the way. I just want you to know. And I'm going to add later in the show, is it okay if we take callers?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So I can let the people know that are chatting. Y'all can call in and ask your questions, and I'm not going to try to relay what people are saying in the chat room. I mean, it's an interesting chat room going on. I know you can't see it right now, and we have a lot of people listening and a lot of people enjoying the show, by the way.
Very good.
And now I have like the $1 bazillion question, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I have heard so many people give their take on this that I've almost just wanted to walk away from it. Okay, because it seems to be everybody has their own idea and their own construct and their own absolutes to this question. So I'm going to ask you what your opinion is on it. What is Ascension?
Oh, mine is very simple.
Good.
Ascension is simply the expansion of awareness, right? That's it. As we expand our awareness, that's what it is. And how do we do it? We raise our vibrational level, our base level. And there's like a little example that I give. Somebody who's a very low vibration, who's infused in fear and desperation, somebody who's in a depression, a very, very severe depression, has a very short, very narrow awareness field. They cannot see beyond themselves. They cannot see past the blackness of the pit they're in.
Right.
As soon as they move or their vibration raises a little bit, they start breathing and looking around them. Then maybe then they will see their immediate environment, their house, for example, and it'll be a mess normally. And then they will look at it and see it and start fixing it up. And then they will step out of their front door and they will go into the stores or, look at and see others. And eventually they start communicating with others. When we communicate with others, we're expanding our awareness to include those others. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be at that point something healthy. It could be very unhealthy because they're still in a very low vibration. But their awareness has expanded, right? And then eventually they go into contentment, and then happiness, and then joy, and then they want to move forward, and they go into enlightenment, and then oneness, So yeah, Ascension is basically an expansion of awareness.
Well, that's a very simple answer. And thank you for that. By the way.
You're welcome.
I have a few more questions, and let's see. What do you think is the most important thing for us as humans on this planet at this time to focus on right now?
Right now, the most important thing that we need to do as individuals, because we only have a few months left before the whole thing gels into place, is to raise our personal vibration and also focus on other things and raise their vibration too. Not through judgment, not through sense of worth or unworthiness, but simply processing our fears, processing the fears of the collective, and infusing everything, stepping out of the way, and allowing light and love to come in directly from source, using us as a conduit, and allowing that to spread into the environment. The thing that has come in the past few days, actually, also, is another method to raise your personal vibration, but it's not exclusive, or it's not, you really should, or it's really most effective if you use both, processing your fear and this other one. And this other one is basically to ask your higher self to incarnate into your present physical body. Now, that brings in a lot of charge normally, right?
Oh, wow.
And that, yeah, it's brand new. It just came in. As we do this, obviously we'll have all sorts of stuff that comes up at our physical level, our mental level, our ego. Our ego is going to go screaming, going, "Nah, don't do it." Right. But it's about processing those things that come up and allowing yourself, that higher self, to incarnate into your physical body a little bit every day, a little bit more every day, or every second, or if you can do it instantly, do it, And that's what came through. It's really amazing. It really surprised me, and I thought, whoa, this is awesome.
I just, while you're talking about it, I said words, and I feel a huge shift going on right now as I'm talking to you. By the way, that is big.
It is, yeah.
Yes, ma'am, that is big. On our path of ascension, do you feel that maybe we're on our last go around on Gaia as things are now?
As things are now, definitely, Gaia has moved on to another experience of reality, and she's requesting. She's not angry. I mean, people say, "Oh, Gaia is really angry. She's suffering." Blah blah. She's not, because she's beyond judgment. She's beyond those lower emotions. All she's doing is waiting for us, each individual, to make that choice to go with her and have that experience of empowerment. It's power over self, power of self. There was power over others, or there was service for others, service of self, and this is power of self. And that's where she's going, or she is at, and she's waiting for us to join her. And those who don't really want to go there, either because they have a lot of investment in power over others, or a lot of investment of being a bodhisattva, for example, service for others, in which case you need people to be asleep or in trouble in order to help them. Then those people can move on. They will be moving on to another reality. Now, that can happen overnight. Yes, it can. It would smash a lot of reality in a lot of people, or it can be done in baby steps, and that hasn't been decided yet. Whether we do it within the next 2-3 generations, gradually moving everybody who, as they die their natural death, they move on to the other reality, and we stay here in this one, or whether it happens overnight, or or that date that we've been given, or close to it, or sometime in this year or next year, or whether it happens between now and 2017, it's all really not decided. It's basically, I do believe it's something that each individual is going to experience differently. I know of many individuals already who have made the jump, and they shift and move and create and manifest at will, right? And I know others who are just waking up. Sorry.
I noticed that it's the manifestation, and you say since 2010, and it's interesting the shifts that happened on the planet at the time that you were talking about, just the physical changes to the planet. I mean, that rings so many bells and rings so true. And what has happened in manifestation, used to you would think and meditate and say the correct words and use your vocabulary and use your thoughts, and within 5 or 6 months, maybe a year, you would see things manifest and it would be beautiful. Now you think it, and it's almost like an immediate and rapid change, like you're a genie blinking your eyes. The manifestation it's just immediate. You have to be so conscious and aware of your thoughts and your emotions and your words now, if you're someone who is in that vibration.
Exactly.
I mean, it's almost stricter because you can't slip a little because you manifest that fast. You don't have time to go back and go, oh, I didn't mean to think that. No. Oh. Yeah. So this is, I'm going to go back to what you were saying about some people will move to a different reality construct, and some of us will say in this reality construct. So this is we are at pass-fail. We're at final exams, either we're at the playoffs. Either you go on or you go home. There's no maybes.
No maybes, no gray areas.
I was looking at some of the things on your website, Ascension 101, which I just want to tell everybody on the call, please go check that out. It's a beautiful website, Ascension 101. And I think I was listening to one of your speeches, and you said something about mean people. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Sorry, I couldn't hear what you said about something about people.
Mean people. It's what you had to say about people who are mean and angry.
Oh, yeah. I don't recall the actual video you're talking about or interview. However, the problem with people which we can talk about the elite or the powers that were, or the really mean neighbor that you have next door or whatever. These are people who are manifesting that type of energy are basically in a lot of fear and in a lot of suffering. And I mean, happy people don't hurt others, right? That's a given. And
right.
That's where it's coming from. So engaging them at their level by either defending ourselves or by counterattacking or by any level that they're at, it's really counterproductive because we're empowering that energy, we're adding to it. However, if you you process all the stuff that comes up within you. For example, if somebody smacks you on the face or whatever, you're going to get angry. And I'm sorry about that. I forgot to switch.
It's okay. It's okay.
So basically, when you join at an emotional level within that energy, you're empowering that whole construct. So the first thing you do is process it. Obviously, if you're in personal danger, you move out of that danger. The first thing is we stop them. How do we stop them? We tell them, no, I don't agree with that. You either run away, walk away, or if you're in your environment, you move them out of your environment, right? You always have the power to do this. Now, when we're talking about people who are creating wars and things like that, you first of all look at that situation, you process every energy that comes up. When you look at it, all the anger, the projection of victim onto those victims. And when we think of a victim, we're actually thickening the jail of the cycle of victim-aggressor, right? Because we're projecting victim into that person. We're empowering that victimhood. And what we really need to do is basically process all those energies within us. That's where our power lies, within us. And then we send them light and love. And we can send them words too. We can send them and say to them, you're a divine, unlimited being, and you're free to choose to leave that cycle of victim-aggressor now. And if you choose not to leave it, you will have to go and experience it elsewhere, because I don't want you in my reality. Now, when we think about that sentence, it's very easy to say, sending light and love and telling the person that they're a divine being when we're talking to the victim. And it's harder to say it to the aggressor. And then when we say, you're not welcome to have that experience in my reality, so you have to move on, it's easier to say it to the aggressor than the victim. So that's where our own duality programs come in. And we really have to move past that. When those difficulties or those feelings come up, we go right in and look at them and do the same as the fear processing. We look at them, we welcome them, we allow them to exist and grow, and then we infuse them with light and love and embrace them, right?
Okay. Well, I've always looked at it when someone is the victim. This is kind of like a test. Are you going to drop down to the lower vibrations and get angry and muddy and dirty? Or are you going to love, forgive, and get over it? And so, for the victim, it's their test. For the aggressor, on some level, some spiritual level, they agreed to come in and be the bad guy, to deliver that test.
Actually, that's another trap. That's another trap, making the bad guys good. It's part of the chain that they're both in, basically. There has been an agreement, definitely, to experience that. But that agreement of that cycle, it's not about one playing the baddie and one playing the victim. It's really at an unconscious level, and it's not really the aggressor doing a good thing by being the aggressor. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding behind that concept, because this also comes in you come in of the my suffering taught me so much, so I will continue to suffer so I can learn more. Do you see the trap there? And suffering is the holding on of pain. And
but you can
the aggressor-victim cycle. sorry, go ahead.
You can just decide to let it go. That you don't
exactly.
need that.
Right. So the new paradigm that we're shifting, we're already there. It's just that we're shifting slowly into it. Doesn't have space or time for suffering or victim-aggressor cycles. It's gone beyond that, because to have a victim-aggressor cycle, you have to be asleep, right? You have to have the concept of somebody having power over another, and that's not going to function. It's impossible to have that when you have an awakened person. So that's not going to be compatible any longer. But if a person really feels they haven't finished their learning with the cycles of victim-aggressor, those are the individuals who will have to reincarnate or move into another planet, another incarnation, another reality where that level of duality still exists. But they won't be able to do it here. It's just no longer compatible.
Okay. Well, I think, I had my list of questions, and I've worked through them, and we have a bunch of callers. Are you okay taking some callers?
Yes, of course, yes.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a quick 30-second commercial, so you have a chance to take a sip of water. Any of the callers on the line who want to speak to Inelia Benz, please just press *6 on your phone, and you'll be queued up, and I'll know who wants to ask questions. And we don't accept mean people in our reality.
Are you bothered by ghosts, ghouls, spirits? Are they being foolish and irritating you? Looking to thin the veil for your spirit guides to come through? Or better ghost hunts? Try Ghoul Be Gone, the latest in paranormal pest control. This mystic mist has herbs, metals, minerals, and a powerful blessing to send those poltergeists packing, and is loved by many ghost hunting societies. Get yours today at ghoulbegone.com.
Okay. Inelia? Inelia?
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, surprisingly enough, nobody queued themselves up to talk, which we have a bunch of callers on and a bunch of chat going on. So I'm going to kind of go back to the chat room. They were talking about service to self and service to others, and someone wanted me to ask you just one thing. In the service to self, service to others. How do you feel about manifesting with oneness consciousness?
I don't see the relationship between manifesting the oneness consciousness and service to self or service to others. They're not really compatible one with each other. Now, when we talk about mean people, or we're talking about the cycles of victim-aggressor and service over self or service for others, there is no judgment there. They're all honorable paths of evolution. Now, we can fall into the trap of thinking, but our way is better, right? We don't want to go there anymore. And either way, whether it's service to others or service to self, or right, I'm done with that, and now I want to move on to a different experience. There can be a sense of ours is better than the other. And it's important to move away from that judgment of which one's better, because they're all honorable paths, right? And I've often said, if, personally speaking, for this singularity called Inelia Benz, I'm here with I was created for a very specific role, a very specific job to raise the vibrational level of the planet. And that's what I've been working on, and that's really basically my entire life. Everything else is quite irrelevant. There's no importance attached to self. It's no importance attached to my singular construct as Inelia Benz. And then I've lost my line of thought there. What was I talking about?
Well, we were talking about the service to self and service to others. I'm sorry,
right.
I deviated my attention a little bit. Apparently, the *6 is not working in the chat room. So I do have people with questions, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up the lines one at a time and ask people if they have a question, and we will see how this goes. Is that okay?
Yes, of course.
And it might be *8, *7. Who knows? They might have changed it since the last time I did this. So we'll start with guest 11, who has a question about fracking.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You're live. Do you have a question?
Oh, okay. I pushed *7. I was on the chat room, and I'm just watching, like, my home state just get, like, so polluted by the fracking, and I'm always wondering, like, if there is free energy technology has even been invented, or possibly that is slated to be released to the world, or do we still have to invent it? I mean, there's so much pollution. I just don't know when are we going to have that technology, if she knows.
Okay.
Well, the technology exists, definitely. And even though it exists at a mechanical level, that's baby steps of what we're actually, our capacity of creating energy from thin air, as it were, as individuals. We are able to just but that's a little bit beyond 2012 and even beyond 2017. But there will become a time when we are able to, through our own intention, and groups will be able to get together and manifest the energy they need to live on for a year or two or forever, infinitum, right? And also, with regards to the pollution, yes, we are being polluted at an environmental level in every respect, from the food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe, everywhere. And the reason for it is because it's our physical body which is our greatest tool. So all this pollution makes it extremely heavy, extremely dulled down. And what we can do at an individual level is go through detoxifications on a regular basis, once a month at least, to go through a detoxification regime to get rid of all those toxins, all those poisons out of our bodies, to really watch what we put into our mouths. Make sure that we eat high vibrational foods, unpolluted foods if possible, as unpolluted as we can get them. Pure unpolluted water as well. So yeah, there's things we can do at an individual level. Now at a social level, when you were talking about it, I could feel that there was a lot of charge and victim energy there in your own construct. And I would go and, for yourself particularly, to process that victim energy. Really go for it, really allow it to be there, really expand it, make it as huge as the planet, allow it to exist. And it might take a few days, maybe weeks, to really process through it. And once you process through that energy, you will be able to see things and actions that you can personally take to change your environment.
That's a good answer, because the answers will come if you allow them. And as you said earlier, take yourself out the way.
Exactly.
Move yourself out the way and allow your higher consciousness to come through and give you the answers, because we are here for a reason.
Right.
Okay, I have guest 67 who has a question along the same lines of what we're just talking about. Guest 67.
Hi. I have a question about two things. And the first is, if we are drugged in this country by our water and our food and our media, can we still be reached on a deeper level? That's it for now.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, definitely. Okay. Again, it's very similar to the first answer. It is our responsibility or ability to respond to counteract that pollution. Right. We can get the filters necessary to purify our own water. We can use distillation methods and then recharge it. For water, the food that we put in, organic foods, if possible. And if we're in an environment that we don't have the resources to do those things, we detox on a regular basis, even more regularly, at least once a week, for example. We could do a one-day detox. And really, that's how we start making our physical and emotional bodies less polluted. We switch off the television. I know it's hard to think about doing that, but it's a very, very simple thing. It's a tool of the other side. They're using it to broadcast low vibrational energies at a content level and also at a physical vibrational level. So switch it off. You can, if you really love watching television, you can watch movies, documentaries, high vibrational stuff, but leave the low vibrational, the news in particular, out of the equation. Move it out of your environment, move it out of your house. So the fact that you're listening to this show means that, yes, you have been reached by your higher self. Yes, your higher self is coming through, and you're looking for alternative information. You're looking for tools. You're looking to see what can you do to empower yourself. You're doing it. You have been reached.
Thank you, Inelia.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, our next caller, and I'm all about turning off the TV. I turned off my TV back in the 80s, and I haven't looked back, by the way. And I find it bizarre when, I try to stay away from public gathering places. And I went into a store, and I'm not going to mention any names, and they had TVs on every wall, blasting. I walked into the store to go get something for my computer, and there were TVs everywhere. I'm like, wow, it's just not good enough to have 5 TVs in every home. You have to have one everywhere. This is just amazing. But, yeah, get away from the TV. I'm going to ask you a question, Inelia. I was discussing this with a friend of mine last night. We were talking about the pineal gland and how important that is, and the things that we're exposed to that calcify the pineal gland. Do you have any advice on how we can detox that gland?
The one that I've been looking at, and so far there's been really fantastic results, it's to switch into distilled water as your main water consumption. Now, a lot of people are going to jump up and down and say, but that's dangerous. It takes away your chemicals, your minerals that you need and stuff like that. Research it. Not everything that you're told by, quote, doctors, unquote, is true.
Right.
And there has been a lot of people who have been using it for decades, and they indeed have managed to decalcify not just their pineal gland, but also have healed from arthritis and all sorts of different things have been happening to them. And so I would really research it and look into it. The other thing is meditate for at least 20 minutes a day, silent meditation. The easiest way to do silent meditation is to concentrate on feeling the air going in and out of your body, either through your mouth or nose, or just feeling it against your skin. When you concentrate the mind on feeling something, it goes quiet, right? So that's how you can do it. You can do silent meditation 20 minutes a day, and that will start creating that the field around you that allows that decalcification to take place.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to open up the line. Northeast Illinois, do you have a question? Hello? Okay. And then we'll move to California. California, do you have a question for Ms. Benz?
Oh, is that for me?
Yes, ma'am.
I had just thought of one when she was talking, but now I forget. I wasn't planning on asking a question. I forgot. But I appreciate this very much. I just found Inez through another healer I was working with, and was looking on my Facebook page this morning and saw this, and this is a great radio show. But what was I going to ask the pineal? Was interesting. No, sorry, I can't think of anything. Maybe just if you have any thoughts about all the EMFs and the use of, right now we're using computers and phones to listen to this, and, to me this is a huge thing that a lot of people talk about, pure food, pure water, this and that, no TV, but the computer and cell phone and wireless is huge, it's very damaging. So I don't want to promote fear about that. I think that's important, what you said about not taking fear into it. But if you have any thoughts about that, I'd love to hear. Thanks.
Okay, good question, by the way.
Very good question, yes. The technology that we're using to communicate right now, it's a manifestation of the collective need to become one, to reconnect, to be able to communicate with any person anywhere on the planet at any time, which we can do at a natural level, but those abilities have been dumbed down by the thickness of the energy blanket. So we basically have manifested it through the use of the invention of computers and telephones and electricity and all these things. Yes, it is a dirty technology so far, but it's at the moment what we have, and actually it's not what we have. We have actually clean technology that we could be using, but it's being kept secret from us. But at the moment, this is what we have access to as a society. Now, you can actually take steps to minimize your kind of exposure to these energies. And one of the things that I found very good, and a lot of people, obviously, if your weather doesn't allow you to switch off the electricity, leave your electricity on. But if you can actually switch electricity off every night before you go to sleep, do that, and you'll have a wonderful sleep. And but if you're not able to, at least switch off your Wi-Fi receiver and your computers and all your other gadgets. Switch them off to be able to sleep. Now you think, well, those wireless and those energies and the microwave is a really dirty one, are coming through us all the time. There's technology that I've been investigating. I've had good results. I'm not sure how effective or whether it is through the person that creates it or not, that it becomes effective or it doesn't. I really haven't looked into it 100%, but enough that I can actually recommend it. Is the Organite technology?
Oh, I love Organite. I have Organite everywhere. Organite does
basically, yes. Yeah. So basically put Organite all over your place.
Is that it?
I have every Organite. And I'm gonna include something that I do, and what I do is I just say these words, and I ask that Spirit transmute any toxin on any level that I'm exposed to, so that it does not truly harm me. And so I have decided that I can walk through this toxic environment without being truly harmed. And that is what I'm creating from my reality. And it has worked.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
And that's just that. And so, I know it's there. I'm aware it's there. I have no fear of it. And I just basically neutered it. It has no power to harm me. Because I'm taking myself out of that equation of harm.
Yes. Yeah. You're basically taking away your agreement that it can harm you.
Right. And then I have Organite everywhere.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Because sometimes our physical body can take a little bit longer to not be affected by things. So we allow it, we help it along. We help it. But yes, definitely, that would be the next step.
Break that agreement. That's a great way to put it. All right, we have Southwest Michigan. Do you have a question for Inelia? Okay, we'll move next to Southeast Florida. Do you have a question for Inelia? I wish these controls would work so I know who truly had a question. we just have a few more people on the phones, and I'll just open the line and give them a chance to talk. New York, do you have a question? Okay, just a few more. Southern California, do you have a question?
They were going really quiet.
I know. No, not me. Don't talk to me. No. Nebraska, do you have a question?
Yes, I was wondering about affirmations, and I was wondering if, Inelia, if you thought those kinds of things were helpful for raising your vibration.
Affirmations is the use of our mental abilities and our intention to create a different reality. They definitely work, yes.
Oh, great. Very good. Good to know. Thank you.
Okay. All right. And we have two more callers. We'll see if they have questions. Ohio, do you have a question?
Yes, I do have a question. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I have a very etheric body system, and I've been trying to find a way to
what
really,
kind of body system?
A very etheric one.
Okay.
Etheric,
right.
like just enough programming to hold a body.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm trying to find a way to really support my body. Of late, I've had a lot of feeling of heart conditions. I just feel like it's really the humanity heart as well that's opening and coming forward, and I'm doing a lot of work in the grid lines. And I'm wondering, I've returned to Cincinnati, Ohio, which is my hometown, but I actually
an important part on the grid, by the way.
Ah, well, that's good to know. Well, I felt called back here, and it's been very difficult for me. My body feels better in other areas of the world that are less dense and less, more sunshine, a lot of other things, calmer, more heart. So I'm unclear in this moment because I feel such a suffering in my body. Is it better to stay here and try to find ways to cope with this reality if I'm truly called to be here as a soul, or to just throw in the towel and go to the Northwest Coast?
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Are you willing to release your program of service for others?
Yes, I am. I actually thought I had done that on a lot of levels, but perhaps not the root.
Right. So I would look into it and really, really dig down and see where is that original still wandering, and still, because there's an element of suffering because of it. Because, yes, you infuse yourself into that duality, so those energies will affect you. I would say go where your body feels the happiest, the most balanced, because now you really need to move into being able to create an environment and a reality that supports you as a being in order to become more effective.
Thank you. I felt that too.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I felt that my joy and my well-being is what supports the whole now, not my being here without a lot of support and feeling really like a fish out of water.
Exactly. And also, I feel as I see your essence, that you're ready to incarnate your higher self into that physical body right now.
Oh.
So ask it, request it.
I don't understand. What do I do? What do I just say? Come? What do I?
Just look into that and intend it. Agree with
it.
Say
again. What the wording? I'm not understanding exactly. I mean, I feel like my goal was to take this body as far as I could into higher dimensions or higher awareness or higher vibration, however you want to say that, to maintain the body through an escalation of increased vibration. So are you saying that I'm ready for the level?
Yeah, I mean, you basically have to fully incarnate into your body. That's the only way you can bring it forth. Fully incarnate into your body. And by fully incarnating, you can also request that the you that's fully incarnating into this physical body is your higher self. So there's So basically that's a little subtle difference between us being in the physical body as ourselves, quote unquote, and our higher self incarnating into this physical body. And are we willing to do it, right?
Well, that's a good question too, isn't it?
Yes.
Thank you so much. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for joining the call. And I'm going to give myself a little plug. I've done these interviews for a while. And if you go to my website, peacemeds.com, I have all my past interviews. And I also have free meditations to help you raise your awareness, raise your consciousness, shift your reality, and all of it's free. It's just free. I have a question, Inelia, from the chat room. They would like you to define and share your experiences of love.
Love. Okay, the original vibration of love is direct from source. It has no color. We can call it kind of white, but it isn't. It's beyond whiteness. It's beyond light. You can call it a light, but it's beyond light. And that comes through directly. We can allow that vibration to come through it. And it is our natural vibration. This is what we're made of. Now, when it comes through and into human form, we can, when we are looking at it through the thick, low vibrational spectrum, we can allot all sorts of things to it, such as possessiveness or need or lack of, when in fact we have never had lack of love, because we are made of love, we are love. And often what I found, many people look outside themselves for love, when in fact they are love. And once they tap into that, once they tap into the fact and also the energy of source love, they will never feel lonely, alone, or lack or need of love again. So that's basically the only way I can describe it.
Okay. All right. When I see love, you talk about the light, it's more of an, energy. It's a frequency, and it glitters and it shimmers, and I really don't even have words to describe.
No, there's no words.
When I open up to that. I had somebody in the web chat room ask me to repeat the website information. My website is peacemeds, MEDS.com, and it's kind of a play on meditations and medications, peacemeds.com. Inelia, would you tell us all your information, what you've got coming up, what your websites are, how people can contact you?
Absolutely. My main website is Ascension101.com. It does have a contact form in it. But all the information and the tools that are available are right there. You go to the tools section and you have a lot of tools that you can use. The articles, there's over 100 articles, and they all contain a lot of information that you can use in your daily life. There's also an Ascension course. That's for purchase. However, all the information, again, is on the site. And also, if you really can't afford it, you're not in a financial position to pay for it, you can receive it for free. You have to request it using the form, and we do get hundreds of requests and emails, but eventually we'll get through them. But you might have to wait a month or two before you get it.
Well, it is what it is, and that's beautiful. What's in the Ascension course? What can people expect if they purchase it, and how much does it cost?
The Ascension course basically is to work on the individual, and because it's for the individual, that's why it's for sale. It's an energy exchange, and the persons who receive it for free have to agree to complete the course for the collective. Basically, it's about reconnecting with and clearing all the different bodies and all the different, and there's also different tools such as achieving goals, detoxifying your physical body, how to go about it, and reconnecting with your physical body. Then also healing the ego, because we don't dissolve the ego. The ego will never go away. It's just that we either have a healthy ego or an unhealthy ego. So we basically learn to find out what the ego is and how to reconnect with it and how to make it healthy. Then also the mind. We identify the mind, we silence the mind. We also go into the emotional bodies and do a lot of work on the emotional body. The spiritual or energy body also needs to be worked on and aligned again with that body. Then we basically align all of our bodies. There's lots of exercises and meditations within the course to do all this. And there's an exercise also which is an expansion of awareness. It's basically, it's had enormous amount of positive results, and if you know you want to have it, you will get it. There won't be anything that's going to stop you getting it. But again, all the information is available in the site throughout all those articles that you read there. There's also one on the tools menu tab. There's several meditations or exercises for the collective that I would ask everybody to do at least once and join your energy to that aim of cleaning. For example, there's one that's called Cleaning the Collective. And then there's a collective timeline exercise where we choose where we want the collective to go. There's other little exercises. There's a firewall exercise where you find out what's blocking you and identify it and how to deal with it. Again, the fear processing exercise, the full text is there. Use it. That's the most important thing that you can use here. That's the most important thing on the site, and it's right there. And then you have things such as 5-minute meditation or relaxation, and there's also a reconnection with the spirit of money exercise, which basically deprograms all the stuff we have around money. And see it for what it is, which is basically an elemental and a manifestation of the spirit of Gaia, which really looks after, wants us to have. It doesn't want us not to have. It's being corrupted, obviously, by the powers that were, and it's been enslaved. But as more of us tap into it and clear that within ourselves, we clear also the collective program of what money is, and then we can, through the inside and at energy at a mystical level, clean and change our financial institution and construct as a society.
Okay.
That's a few of the things.
I have a few more questions, and we've got a couple more callers. One is, all right, you said the mind. Okay. Can you define how the mind is different from the person?
The mind
and that course, by the way, sounds great. It sounds great. Okay. The mind? Yeah,
the mind basically is a construct like a computer. It's a way to analyze and to see things. However, it has become extremely important in the society as the main tool, as it were, or the most important thing that we can have. However, the chatter we have in the mind is non-stop, and it's also running wild, and it's stimulated everywhere, all the time. And it's important to silence the mind in order to tap into our real self, which is not the mind. And often
so the mind
also
is kind
there's
of like
a lot
your
of
body. It's like an operating system on the computer.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And the chatter. Yes. It's very important to get a hold of that chatter in your mind and find out where it's coming from and shut it down and realize that a lot of times those aren't really even your thoughts.
Right, exactly. So I would say rather than trying to find out, which is also an aspect of the mind, trying to find out things, would be to simply concentrate on the space between thoughts and try and make them go longer and longer. And again, if you keep the mind occupied by feeling something like the air going in and out of your body, you will be able to go into a silent mode, which is very healthy. And so there was something else attached to that with the mind. Oh, yes. There's a lot of misinformation out there about mind powers and mind abilities, thinking that things such as telepathy, telekinesis, and all those other abilities that are natural to the human species but have been also dulled down and removed from our toolkit, out of the mind. And in fact, they're not. They're not. Those abilities are actually part of our physical and their emotional body. So once you start silencing your mind, you will be able to start developing your other abilities and capacities, which in this, there's also process of any fears you may have around those. Because if you go into those things and become obsessed with them, or you go into them with a very powerful ego, you're going to get into a lot of trouble. That is true, right? But if you process all your stuff first and all your fears, and then move into your body and you detox your physical and your emotional bodies, you're going to basically go back to your natural state. A very empowered state, an unlimited state.
And I agree with you 100% on the detox. I'm big on detox. I have Native American blood, and my great-grandmother, who stayed very healthy until the day she just dropped dead at 92, detoxed all the time. And, this was, back in the olden days when they weren't, they had good food, and they had real food, and they had real water, and they weren't exposed to all the toxins that we are. And, she told me at a very young age, detox every week. Take 2 days out of your week to cleanse your body. And at a young age, I listened to her, and I've expanded on it, and I'm very thankful and grateful for her to share that with me. No one else in our family listened to her. And it's funny, I go to class, I meet with people that are my age, and they're like, oh, you must have had plastic surgery. Oh,
yes, exactly.
This and that. And I'm like, no, no, I just eat real food, and I drink clean water, and I don't watch TV, and, and I don't agree with the program that I have to age, and then they, oh, you're crazy. And I'm like, yes. Yes.
I'd be very interested to know how do you detox? What do you do for those 2 days? What can you, give us a step-by-step?
Well, when I was younger, what I do is I would fast for 2 days, and and I took it even younger before I knew what I was doing. Not only on a solid food fast, but an emotional fast. And I would remove myself from TV, and I'd remove myself from drama if anything was dramatic, and this was a teenager, and I just removed myself from it for 2 days. If that's heavy, man, and I can't do it because I'm fasting, and I didn't know anything at the time about parasites or heavy metals or organic foods or, not cooking in the microwave, but that's how I started, just doing my best to do nothing but drink water, but I'd still drink some juice and such. And then the 2 day fast would expand to once a month to a 4 day fast. And then it expanded to a 7 day fast. And now several times a year, I'll do a 14 day fast. And, as I've grown older and I understand, and, I'm constantly working with parasites and heavy metals and doing the foot detoxes. I don't know if you've heard of them. And every time they're beautiful. And every time I take a bath, it is a detox experience, and I'll use different salts and clays and charcoal. And, I make herbal products, beautiful herbal bath products, and they're not really for sale on the internet. I'm not trying to sell them. I just make them for my clients and my friends, and, it's hard for me to keep up, not trying to be in business with it. Okay? But in my formulary back there, in my lab, I have all sorts of beautiful salts and clays, and I get to experiment and play. And all I can tell people is just, go buy some stuff. Get some organic stuff. Go for what you're drawn to. And start putting rose petals and salts and essential oils and, mix up different things. Because one day you'll want this bath, and the next day you'll want that bath. And then make some oils and, put that on your body. And then do the body mask. You can take the clays and put different herbs in it and different oils. And, and I go by intuition. What does this person need at this moment? I don't, I have a few straight formulas, but I mainly go by intuition. And so I blend up what they need, and then, like they do the body mask. And so they have this clay with herbs and oils and salts, and, and they put it on their body. And when the clay dries, then you get into the bathtub. And so the clay uses the bath water, and it continues to draw the toxins out. And then, you follow up with a natural soap, without all the chemicals. Don't use commercial fragrances. They are so toxic.
They are, yes.
Yes, ma'am, they are. Don't plug those things in your wall. Don't do that. Just don't. If it's not organic essential oils, don't use it, period. And, so they get in the bathtub with the clay, and the clay goes in the water, and it continues to pull the toxins out. Charcoal, I have found to be a miracle worker for people who've been exposed to heavy-duty toxins. And then, when people do detox, they've got to take it slow, because a lot of these toxins settle in your fat and your bones. And so when you start the detox process, it's going to start running the toxins back through your body, and your body has to deal with it. Where it's just in your fat cells, it's pretty dormant. It's causing damage, but it's dormant. And so once you start the detox, it starts running through your system, and your liver and your kidneys and your adrenal glands and your colon. They all have to deal with that. So you don't want to bombard your system, because it took a long time to get toxic. You don't want to pull all this out and have to throw your body into shock. That can be, a really bad thing to do. So I always suggest that people, when they detox slow. Do one thing, gauge that experience, see how your body reacted to it, and then slowly move on to another. And, of course, always get the advice of your doctor, because, legally I have to tell you that.
Right.
Always.
I've always, I like to change it to your health, what was it, the health practitioner, your health practitioner. Because then the person can go to a homeopath or whomever they feel is their health practitioner. And if it's a regular doctor, then it is.
Well, I had a gentleman whose name I can't mention, but, I've had some very interesting clients in my lifetime, some very well-known clients. And this particular client was a very well-known cancer doctor. And he and I got in a very heated argument one time, because he's my client, okay? And so I asked him straight up, and this was when I was younger, and I still had anger about the system. And as I'm older, I understand his words are very true, but at the time they angered me greatly. Now, I've just learned this is truth. And he said, Kimberli, I asked him, would you take your own medicine? And his answer was, I would choose quality over quantity. And I'm like, what kind of answer is that? And I said, why don't you integrate some of these natural therapies into your clinics? You could really help people. And he said, no, Kimberli, people who want to get well, come see someone like you. People who want drugs, surgery, and chemotherapy, come see someone like me. And I'm like, no, people who come to see you want to get well. And he said, no, they don't. They want drugs, they want radiation, and they want surgery. And I'm like, this is how you drive all those nice cars, and your wife drives a nice car, and your kids drive a nice car, and your grandkids drive nice cars, and you can sleep at night? And I was very angry with that conversation, but I've come to realize he was right. Not everybody wants to be well.
Right.
And that was a hard lesson to learn, because I really, I was in service to others in that program.
Right.
And now that I've learned that, I'm not here to help everybody, I'm not really even here to help anyone. I'm here to do my thing.
Exactly.
And once I got away from that, I could process it. And yeah, he drives nice cars. So what? And yeah, he can sleep great at night. So what? I sleep great at night too, and I drive a pretty nice car myself. It's all good,
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, if anybody's detoxing, experiment, read, educate yourself, and take it very, very, very slowly. And then I have one more personal question, then I have two more callers. And this is a personal question from me to you. 11:11. I see that every time the clock is at 1:11, 11:11, and I am awake, I will instinctively notice it on the clock. I see 11s everywhere. My name is Kimberli Kai. K is the 11th letter in the alphabet. All three of, my month, my day, my year, all add up to 11s. I mean, 11 is everywhere in my life. Do you have any idea what the significance of that is?
I believe it's a master number. It's like the number of a teacher or somebody who has reached enlightenment. And also, with regards to numbers, it's a language. It's a way of your environment and your life to tell you we're on the right track, right? It reflects back to you what you know is true, that the environment really is inside of you, and it's a reflection of you, and you create it.
Right. Okay.
So that's why it's a confirmation, and we choose. It's not about everybody needs to have those numbers pop up for this to be true, because we actually choose what language we communicate with Source and with our environment. We choose. We can make a conscious choice by adapting somebody else's language. For example, I adopted the white feather from one of my favorite writers, who talked about, okay, so if I need to write this book, he wrote, if I have to write this book, if writing this book is the right thing, then I will see a white feather at a certain time in a certain place. And he went to that place, and sure enough, there was a white feather. So he wrote it.
Oh, wow.
And this is Pablo Coelho. He writes in Portuguese, but his books are translated into every language. And so I thought, whoa, that's an awesome that's an awesome way to communicate. I'm going to adapt that myself. I'm going to adopt it and use it in my life. And sure enough, it has worked wonderfully. And yeah, we can also adopt the number 11, 1111, or 2222, or 5555, or any kind of combination that really means something to us. Some people will see the birth date of their grandparent or a favorite person, and they'll see that birthday number coming up in car licenses and in phone numbers, in all sorts of different locations. The number pops up. And so that's also valid. But basically, when we decide we want signs, when we want to communicate and we want to have those little signposts in our life, we decide what it is. And the 1111 is a really good one because it is a master number, because it is one that has been used by so many people, so it's easy for it to come through to us at the right time and at the right place, always.
Thank you. Thank you for that answer. All right, I have some questions from the chat room. They want me to ask you about ECETI meeting. Do you know what that is?
Oh, the ECETI, yes.
Okay.
ECETI is a ranch the Isetti Ranch is in Washington State and just above the Oregon border. And it's a location that people can see. Basically, you go there and you look out at night and you see UFOs flying around. There's no special skills needed. The founder and the Isetti family have created a type of galactic or it's like a gateway, a stargate. So the different dimensions merge, and you can see all these things with your physical eyes. It's not intuitive. There's nothing non-physical about it. You can see the crafts flying around. There's also a lot of healing that goes there, and there's a lot of work. There's a lot of high energy beings that come in to collaborate with us, and sometimes communicate directly with individuals who go there, or through the people who run the place. And we're going to be doing a joint retreat in May, the last weekend in May, I believe. We haven't finished all the details, but it's going to be absolutely wonderful. It's going to be like a meet and greet with myself as the host. And then the second day is going to be a silent meditation for the collective, where the entire ranch and all the participants are going to go silent for 24 hours and just go into a silent meditation.
Please make sure your secretary knows to send me information on that, because if I can come, I want to be there.
Oh, fantastic.
Beautiful.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Yeah,
Yes,
I'm definitely going to send that to you.
Thank you. Keep me in the loop on that, please.
Absolutely.
Another question.
And anybody else who wants to be in the loop, they just have to click onto the newsletters tab on my website and register there. Yeah, and then they'll get the email directly.
Yes, ma'am. And your website is ascension101.com for people who are.
That's
we
right.
still have people joining the show, by the way. And and I have another question from the chat room. Do you have a timeline for your new book, Being Human?
Well, I'm supposed to have it finished by March. That's what the request can be done by March and printed and ready to go by April. But I'm trying really hard, but I only have 24/7. I don't even have that because I sleep a lot. But I'm trying very hard to get it completed by then. I'm really working very hard on it, and hopefully have it and be able to answer that request from Source to have it done by. And I have no idea why it needs to be done by then, but if I follow instructions that feel that I'll have a go, I'll try and do this, and the rest is just human limitation.
Well, if you're supposed to have it done by April, you will.
Yes.
It will just happen. It will flow, and it will all be good. All right. I have two more callers, and one's a maybe, one's a definite. Okay. Southern California, do you have a question?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Inelia and Dr. Campbell, thank you very much. Inelia, I love you. I hope that doesn't embarrass you. I have followed you. I have followed you ever since your interview with Ryan, and you really inspire me. And are you going to have any meet and greets in Northern California at any time?
We have had a few already. Again, you can log in, register onto the newsletter, and you receive those news. There's also an events page there. At the moment, we don't have any more scheduled for the next few months. The next meeting is going to be in Washington State. But if somebody does get inspired to organize something, and it's always something that I can drive to. I'm based in Sacramento. So if I can drive to the location, then I can do it. But I'm not able at the moment to fly to locations. So basically, yes, if I can drive to it, then definitely more can happen.
Yeah, I actually live in Sacramento, but I'm going to try to get to, you did say Oregon, was it?
Yes. Well, it's north of Oregon. It's Washington State, yeah. Yes, I'll be put in all the details there. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be absolutely empowering, both at a personal level and as a collective level. It's going to be great.
Yes. I'm a long-time meditator. How I got into it, I don't know. And I had a very unique experience where I call it the light plugging into me, into my, I guess, the third eye. And it was one of the most remarkable experiences I've ever had in my life. I don't get an opportunity to share it with many people or have had the opportunity to talk to a lot of people who have had a similar experience. But I'm just honored to have the opportunity to share that with you. It was just remarkable. I've been looking for it ever since. I'm kind of hard on myself too, Inelia, I think, because even in spite of having that experience, I don't meditate as much as I feel that I should. And I will say that when I don't meditate on a regular basis, I'm kind of out of sorts. And that's just, a little bit out of me. I feel I'm, there's really nothing that I can really say because you really laid it out very practically how to maybe entangle yourself and raise your vibration. And so I guess the best thing that I can say is I am inspired to work harder and do more.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then the other thing I want to say to you, I really appreciate your humor. I know I saw where you had said, you were crying for your mother who unfortunately passed, but yet she was standing right next to you.
Yeah. The physical body feels lost, And yeah, she was standing right next to me, but I was crying my head off because I couldn't touch her or hug her or whatever, It's like, it really feels it. Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciated that, and listen, I'm just so honored to be able to speak with you and Dr. Campbell. I'm not going to oppose on your time, but thank you very much. I'm going to work harder.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that.
Okay.
And thank you
very
for
much.
the collective.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we have one more caller, and bring him live. Okay. Mr. Motorcycle Accident, you're live?
Yes, that is me. Hi, Inelia. And hi,
Hi.
Dr. Kimberli. I recently was linked to your site just 2 days ago, and I read through your posts for August, and the first one I remember being about sickness and death. And I took special interest in that because on August 18th of 2011, I was riding my motorcycle, and I collided with a truck, and I was flying through the air like 20 feet, and my motorcycle was totaled. And after the whole accident, I didn't have a single injury, not even I was wearing a T-shirt and jeans. There wasn't a tear in anything. There wasn't a scratch on my helmet. The police didn't believe that I'd been hit. And so I ended up at the hospital in the X-ray room, and the man who was lying next to me on a stretcher was riding the same vintage motorcycle that isn't made anymore, and the same year, too, when he was in his accident. And so I left the hospital and I went home, and there was one spot that I had a scratch on it. It was my shin. And so I took off the bandage and I looked at it, and it was the numeral pi inscribed in my shin. And for me, that's really important because I observe patterns and synchronicities, and math is like my language. That's how I listen to the universe. And after this accident, I just had an awakening. And for the next 3 days, I remember, so then I read your next post, which was about sorry, I'm a little nervous. I've been reading all of this stuff the last. And it's just, I felt so connected to you that it's crazy to be on the phone with you right now. Your next post was about, I think, the agreement was when you checked out. You were asked to leave by the source during the week of the 22nd to the 20th.
Yes.
And it's crazy because the 3 days after my accident, I just left Earth. I don't know where I was. I was at home. But I remember thinking, since then, I haven't been able to understand, like, where I was, and I've assumed that I was in shock. But then when I came out of it, that Monday, the following Monday, was a day in Hinduism, which is my religion, called Janmashtami. And Janmashtami is the arrival of Krishna, is like the birth of Krishna. And that's the day that I came out of it, and I was so grateful and so awake that for the first time in my life I fasted all day. And I took my mom and we went to the temple at night. And then I went to sleep, and the next morning I awoke to an earthquake in Boston. And, I mean, earthquakes, I've never experienced an earthquake in Boston. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. We're here.
And so that was very significant to me, and I've been trying to figure out. I knew that I'd been communicated to, or communicated with the universe, or the creator, or the source, or this life, and I've known that it's been time to wake up now. But when I read your posts, it really framed it in a way that I could understand better, and I started to understand why I checked out for 3 days to prepare me for Gaia's Ascension. And what scares me, though, and the question that I have is, during that accident, I made an agreement to stay.
Yes, you did.
And what scares me is, who was it that was trying to get me to agree to leave? And are they still trying to get me to leave?
Let's not fall into the victim paradigm there and process any fear that might come up about somebody else trying to make you leave. But each individual, each person that's alive today has lots of options to leave, different days in their life, right from infancy all the way up to, infinite number of years, where they will have moments in time when they can leave. And it's a choice. It's always a choice. Somebody said it. I can't remember who said it, wrote it. I read it somewhere that said each person, when they die, they're actually committing suicide because it's their choice to die, right, at the end of the day. Yes, an agreement can be forced out of the person by being tricked, thinking, okay, I am going to die now, kind of thing. It's impossible to survive this or whatever. And as you know from surviving that accident, there's no impossible survive just about anything. And but it could be, I think, it was your personal choice. That moment was open for you to leave this dimension and this body, and it was your personal choice to stay and to continue. And but it was with a kind of added part of it. It's like, okay, I'm going to continue, but it's going to be the same. I have to be that high vibration or waking state. And now it's going to be when that begins, right? Interesting life begins, and see where it can take you, how far it can take you, how wide can your awareness become. It's very exciting.
Inelia, I feel so bad because my phone has been cracking up the whole time you've been speaking.
I think it might be her phone. It cracked up right there at the end.
Yeah, they don't want you to hear this.
Right.
Yeah, actually, and my cell phone started ringing as I was trying intently to listen to what you were saying.
Oh, my computer started going kind of nuts. I started getting all sorts of contact requests and everything all of a sudden all at once, and something blocked that out. There is no they.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah, right. Something blocked it out. So we'll say it again. Basically, it's your choice. It's your choice to come back. It's your choice to live this more expanded awareness of existence. You chose to come back. And now is when the exciting stuff begins. Now is when the interesting stuff begins. And it's up to you to see how far you want to push it, how far you want to push that awareness and that vibration.
Thank you, Inelia.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. Well, I have a question in the chat room, similar and along the lines of what he's talking about, and I'm going to have to paraphrase from the chat. The person said that they were on your website and they were doing one of your exercises, and after scanning their body, they found a program of I don't want to live. They said, I put this program myself, but I realized I do want, so I was releasing the old program, and I saw these light beings giving me a sentence with my will to live on with a shining object. I wanted to ask, is it okay to take these kinds of things, or could it be mean or a trick or a trap? And thank you, and hugs and loves and greetings.
When you have light beings come to you with gifts, always ask them, and you have to answer truthfully, even at a vibrational level. Are they your higher self? Are they light? Or are they service to self? And the answer will come very powerfully, very strongly, and you'll know. And also, you can also put in a filter. If you're working at this level, you can put in a filter to say, only light beings and consciousness can come into my personal field, my personal environment. Nothing that has any type of darkness in it or grayness or anything questionable can enter my field at any time. And then that kind of puts in a filter so that only light beings can come in. Also process any fear you may have about being tricked and about the influence of others. Process that fear, because that fear and that's the door opened for them to come in and influence. It's a kind of catch-22. If you're afraid, you're leaving the door open, kind of thing.
Exactly. And then just like the statement that I make that, no toxins can truly harm me, you just make that statement, you break that agreement, no entity can truly harm me.
Exactly.
Period. Okay, Inelia, I know I'm reaching my time limit with you, and we do have someone on the website that's going to be contacting you or in our chat room about translating your books to Spanish for you, by the way. And
cool.
and the chatter and the website and our program's been beautiful, and I want to thank our guests, and I want to thank you. And Inelia's website is Ascension101.com. Thank you so much for being on the program today, and I want everybody to go out, peace, love, and joy. And thanks for joining. Thank you, ma'am.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Beautiful time. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.